And that's what they're scared of, and that's why
Yeah.
they don't want people like him on SNL.
That's right.
They don't want people like him to speak.
They don't want people to laugh.
No, they don't. They don't. And you know what? I'm sorry, but can we just go back to 20 years ago when I was a kid and you could just say what the fuck you wanted and not fear about anything, and people could take a joke. Could just take a joke.
A man can dream.
I know, man.
What's really interesting is the aftermath of the monologue and people being like, "Oh, controversial monologue, fall flat on his face," and blah, 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 you know, all the liberal talking points about,
Right.
you know, he was scared, and it was really awkward, and all this type of stuff. And it's like,
bro,
what did you expect?
And what I find amazing is that it's been well established that for a while Saturday Night Live has not been funny.
No, it's been terrible.
Yeah, and it's because this is how bad it got. Saturday Night Live, for their opening monologue, the Saturday after Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, it was what was the name of that blonde lady that was on it?
Some blonde
some blonde.
Yeah. She was playing Hillary Clinton in a monologue where she was literally singing a song.
Kate something. Discount Jamie.
Kate.
I can't remember her last name.
But you have to say, I'm sure, Kate McKinnon. That's the one.
Kate McKinnon. I think
she was literally singing a ballad about how sad it all was that Hillary Clinton lost, and it was just guys, you're supposed to be a comedy show.
So it's just unfortunate, you know, when you go and look at the stuff from like the 70s, 80s, 90s. That stuff was, you know, that stuff's fire, dude. Even some of the early 2000s, but now it's just so terrible. So now, if they had Shane Gillis on, he's done a lot of sketch comedy,
right?
In addition to his stand up, and it's funny stuff for the most part.
No,
it's not for everybody, and no comedy's for everybody, you know. But that's the whole point of comedy. You got to find the audience. You got to find what is funny, what isn't funny, what's going to appeal to most people versus not appeal to other people. That's the whole point. That's why you should say every joke that comes into your head. That's my philosophy. Anyway, like maybe do some censoring, but like pretty much you should be able to make fun of anything. And the whole point of comedy is comedy is a unifying thing, right? Or it should be anyway, because as I listened to one podcast of these improvisers, they were saying like comedy is speaking about the mirror between the two people we just watched in the interview, Lorenz and Libs of TikTok Lady. Comedy is also a mirror that just reflects society back upon you.
Yeah.
And people get offended because sometimes they don't want to look in the mirror because they don't like what they see in the mirror.
Yeah.
So that's why they get offended, because it's really just truth personified in a humoristic way to also help us get over the trials and tribulations of life, because life sucks. It's difficult. Yeah. Not everybody gets it on easy street. And even sometimes when you have it on easy street, that's not always great either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So we all have to go. So comedy helps us deal with dark things and some dark topics we don't necessarily want to think about. But if we can chuckle about it, it takes the power away from that dark thing a little bit. What SNL should be when it comes to sketch is it really should be relationship based, and when you watch some of the old stuff, you really kind of get all that, and that's why it was so funny, because it was relatable. But now all it is I'm gonna hit you over the head, boom, woke liberal stuff, boom.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yo, man, I just want to have a laugh. Like,
yeah.
Excuse me. Does everything need to be
serious?
With a political tint?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Some good comedy is obviously with a political tint. But not to the point where it's so obvious what you're trying to get pushed through that you're just going to alienate so many people.
So actual laughter, not clapter.
Yeah, like for example, like Jon Stewart came back to the Daily Show and did a really good set
of making
and that
was quite funny.
Making fun of both old men candidates.
Yes.
And it's like Jon Stewart is clearly a left-leaning dude and will still vote for Biden, but like he at least has the sense to say, "Come on, everybody! Like this is a fucking joke.
Are you sure we can't do better?
Right? Like this is a joke. We should all laugh at this. We are stuck with this.
Yeah,
let's have a laugh."
Yeah, but did you see
their expense?
But did you see the pushback he got from the left?
Exactly. But that's the
and it's just like
it's crazy.
He's one of yours. He's just
Yeah.
pointing out the obvious that we can all see.
Right, the mirror, exactly. And
Yeah.
people get upset when the mirror is reflected because what does it mean? They will lose power.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. It's all a power. It's a lot of it is all a power
Do you know what
play,
the
but
perfect example of this was? Did you see Stephen Colbert's rant the other night over Trump not being running for Trump running for president? It was atrocious. It was just
he's gone down.
Yeah,
He's gone downhill, dude.
it was just absolute TDS toddler tantrum. That's all I can describe it as.
Yeah, a lot of those talk show hosts, they just have
Yeah,
toddler tantrums.
but late night. You
Yeah,
talk
man.
about SNL, like Jay Leno.
That's
was funny.
That's why their numbers are in the shitter. Because people don't want to watch crap anymore.
No.
It's the whole point. We already have you, whoever's watching, we already have enough crap we deal with in our life. We don't want to go to something that's supposed to help us relax. That's why there's trash TV. That's why my fiance likes watching trash TV like The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Because it's so terrible. But you
Oh,
can
I
just
love trash TV.
you can
Real
that's the whole
Housewives,
point.
Vanderpump Rules.
You turn off your brain.
Have you seen Vanderpump?
And you just
Love
have
it.
a moment to
Love it.
relax. Something you watch that is maybe a little funny. You don't have to think too hard, and you can enjoy, and then you can get re-energized a little bit before you have to deal with crap the next day. That's what this stuff should be. Not lecturing you on how you should think, how you should be, what you should eat. Like it's like, yo, man, just shut the fuck up. I just want to have a laugh. So that's what Shane Gillis tried to do. And I thought it was brilliant.
He's basically joking the way everyone did 20 years ago, and now is being force-fed down your throat that it's somehow alien or wrong.
Right.
Like this is how I joked as a teenager with my mates.
Yeah.
I'm sure all we do with everyone was just like, oh yeah, Todd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was a joke. We knew it was a joke, and you just got on with life.
Also, there's nothing bad that he's saying. He's not nothing bad that he said. Like even the story about his niece and the kid, the evil white kids call her retarded. You can't believe that. It's like just black kids just come wailing and beat up that cracker. It's just so funny, dude. It is exactly. It's what America needs.
Yeah.
People got offended by that joke. It's like, why? What's offensive about that? Why did people? I don't understand why. I mean, there's so many people that talked about how it was awkward, and he admitted he didn't talk too much about why he wasn't on the show and why he got fired, and he, dismissed it, and he clearly was very nervous and uneasy. It's like, dude, what? First of all, he was supposed to be a cast member of the show, not headlining the show. There's very two different things to do, by the way. Even people who were on the show who then headlined it afterwards had a little bit more comfortability with it because they had been on the show, but it's still different. It is very different because when you're just on the show, you don't always do all the sketches. But when you're the headliner, you're basically in every single sketch because you're the main person on the show that time. Everybody else is like a supporting character for you. They write sketches and skits for you in mind. That's the whole point. So it's a vastly different position. So of course he's gonna be nervous. He knows who he is. He knows his material. He knows why they're bringing him on now because he's proven that he can be very, very funny and a hit, which is why they should have kept him on before, which is why they hired him before.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, this guy's sketches are fire."
So essentially, and this is why I think it's a broader, more important cultural moment, is because the gears of the market are working. He left. He was fired from SNL. He then, outside of the SNL environment, instead of crumbling, he succeeded beyond any of their wildest imaginations. And now they've had to bring him back because culturally Americans are like, you know what? He's pretty fucking funny. And he is really, really funny.
He's very funny. Dude, he brought his dad on just to make fun of him for being a volunteer assistant high school basketball coach for girls. That is hilarious. That should have gotten a bigger laugh. It's so funny. His set was really, really well done. He did bring, like, him talking about the Down syndrome stuff and everything. That's like, I've heard some of those jokes before. So he went to something comfortable. He might have
Yes.
had something else prepared, but then I think he went to something comfortable based on
The
which is
audience
smart.
reaction.
Which is smart because you don't, it is nerve-wracking being up there, and it is really well lit, and you can definitely see when people are uneasy and stuff. Even Chappelle and folks have talked about that.
Yeah.
But they're a little bit more comfortable because they're in that limelight a lot more, or have been. But he hasn't really, right? So it's just a different scenario for him. But all the critiques and everything he was getting, like, what did you expect? He wasn't going to be nervous. He wasn't going to be awkward.
I
People
know.
wrote these articles as if he should somehow be ashamed, and also the comments about, like, oh, he didn't talk more about why he was fired originally from the show. Like, the whole all those are like the Taylor Lorenzes of the world who were miffed because they didn't win at the end of the day, like you're
Yes.
saying, right? Like, he
Yeah.
came back. It's definitely a comeback story. It's what Americans love. We love a good comeback story. But I hate to use your phrases, but these elite liberal Ivy League school journalists can't stomach it.
No, they can't.
They can't stomach it.
They're
And you know what? Partly because he also does look like he has Down syndrome. It's
Well,
also like, this person shouldn't be this successful.
because they're
which is not racist, but it's like that's not a nice thing to say about this guy.
because they are losing control. They're losing cultural control. They're losing control of narrative, and they cannot stomach it. What we're basically, and this is why it's so fascinating, what we're basically seeing right now is a cultural pushback against a progressive era that really began 100 years ago with Woodrow Wilson. Then it got it then ratcheted up a notch with FDR. And then you had what was the counterculture of the 1960s. That counterculture has become the predominant elite power class. And now you're starting to see, for once, you're starting to see an actual effective pushback against it. You had a moment with Reagan, but in terms of both politically and comically and culturally, but now and they can't stomach it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're scared of, and that's why they
Yeah.
don't want people like him on SNL.
That's right.
They don't want people like him to speak.
They don't want people to laugh.
No, they don't. They don't. And you know what? I'm sorry, but can we just go back to 20 years ago when I was a kid and you could just say what the fuck you wanted and not fear about anything, and people could take a joke. Could just take a joke.
A man can dream.
I know, man.